Right, the Prologue's second objective, second challenge is Elfminder 9000. And this is getting a bit too loud on the music side. Because this is still on the Christmas Islands, I decided to keep the music, but it's a very intense one. So this challenge, the easy one, takes significant amount of time because altogether you have 12 levels and a 13th level, which you can only solve by exploiting some of the implementation flaws of the game. But for the easy part, you just need to play through all 12 levels, which takes a lot of time. So what I did is I drew the solutions in advance. I'm going to click on the run button to play through the level. The only level that I'm going to draw is the very first one, just to give you an idea on how the game looks like if you're just watching this video and you haven't played the game. And I'm also going to draw out the last level for the hard part because that is essential in the solution to see how and what order you need to draw the solution. There's basically just one first crucial step that you need to keep in mind. So let's see first the easy part and then the hard version of the challenge. Okay, so I already talked to the elf, and the elf will tell us for this solution, this challenge rather, that to solve the challenge, we might have to take a step back and look at the implementation. In the conversation with the elf, there is an extra hint, which is really important, by the way, that is common with the Holiday Hack Challenge. Under hints, you will see the read the docs. This is actually pretty important. And as you initially play the game, you will have this help popping up to you. I will just very briefly browse through it and explain the building blocks that you need to use. Then under the reusable parts, this is for the easy part. You need to sometimes, as your little elf runs through the path that you draw, you sometimes have to click on the path to change the layout of your solution path. And this is an integral part of some of the solution methods, unless you try to exploit some of the implementation flaws of the game. This last one is really for the hard part. There is some issues with the game logic. And you won't be able to just easily bypass some of the game logic controls because there's server-side validation. I'm not going to show those cases, maybe just in the source code. I will highlight and explain what happens if you try to do certain actions. But they tried their best, the creators of the challenge tried their best to make sure that the server-side validation will not allow you to do client-side manipulation. You really have to just exploit the implementation flaw, the logic flaw in the game. And if you look at the conversations with the elves, for the elf in charge of the challenge, if you read through the conversation, they talk about commenting on the Springs logic. So Springs, weirdness with Springs, and comment, those are key words in this conversation, which will be essential to solve the challenge on the hard version, on the hard mode. By the way, as we play through, we might see the story advancing to the first act because it is already around the time when they promised that they were going to release the first act. I'm definitely not going to click anywhere for the first act because we have to wait one more week until you're allowed to publicly disclose your solution for those challenges. But this challenge is still for the prologue, so let's check it out. And Here, again, you do not need anything really other than a browser. We are going to take a peek for the hard challenge for the client-side logic, but for the easy one, again, you just need to play through all these levels. Let's check out the first one. So when you get to the game, you're going to have the help popping up. So you have a little elf that you control, and you have to draw a path for that elf. It will collect crates. First, you need to collect all the crates, and then you need to go from the start position to the end position. So fairly simple, at least when there are no obstacles. You can rotate the paths that you draw if the elf is not on the path. And this allows you to take different routes according to your needs. There are two types of scores. I obviously went for the evil boss version. So if you waste time, but you're still within the time frame, you will get also points. And there are two separate scoreboards for the game. It doesn't matter how many points you collect by solving a level. There's just it's a game inside a game. Basically, you can try to beat other people's scores within the game. We're not going to concentrate on that one. Just going to give you solutions for all the levels. Obviously, there are ton of different ways to solve the levels. So my goal here, at least very much for the easy part, is just to get through them as fast as possible. But I will show you the difference between the fast version and the time wasting version. So tunnels are also going to be very important. The elf enters in the tunnel and the exit is on the other side. You can only place 2 of these at a time. And same for the springs. So springs will make the little elf jump if there's a continuation of the path. If there's none, then it will just hop in its place and then heads backwards, basically. But there's some other weirdness around the springs. And there are 2 extra type of elements here. We also have rocks, which are blockers or obstacles. The sizzling sand makes your elf run faster, so it gets through 1 cell faster, and the sleepy crab forces the elf to go slower. So that will require additional time to get through. And there is a certain amount of time allocated for completing the challenge. So you can try to take the fastest route, and just draw something like this to quickly collect all the crates and get to the end. And this will get you some score. So this is just with the path drawing. You can erase 1 single element, you can place the springs and tunnels, and you can clear out everything. Let's just quickly solve the challenge here. So we have the little elf collecting the crates. You can see that the time remaining is displayed here on the bottom. And that's it. So you will end up with a score here on the good boss mode and on the evil boss mode. Basically, this is reversely proportional to the time remaining. So just to give you an example on how this might look like in the time wasting mode. And then I'm just going to go through the next levels. So let's do play again. You can clear this. And if you choose to take like a long path, something like this, then your good boss score will be, well, obviously kind of low. In most cases, it's going to be 0. But the evil boss mode will be a very high score because you are wasting a lot of time. Now, even with the evil boss mode, you are required to complete the level with the within the time interval that is available for the elf. But this can be 2 different ways of solving the challenges: a quick one and a very slow one. This is a very slow one, of course. And as you draw the solutions, the game will remember your solutions, so you can always revisit it and redo the challenges. All right, so let's go back to the menu. And once you complete a challenge, you'll get a check mark and it turns into green. Okay, so the next one is pretty much the same idea. So I'm going to just let the elf go through. Now, for the spring part, you really will have to take a look inside the source code of the challenge, and you will be required to use some of the other elements. For the initial levels, as you can see, there's not much in your way. You have these rocks and the sizzling sand, so each level kind of just introduces another logical element to the game, another type of challenge is introduced to you. I'm still using here the evil boss mode, so you can see that, yeah, I could have just directly went through here for the final flag. You can see how the crabs are slowing down our little elf, like here, and also makes this visual clue that it goes through slower. So I'm not really sure why they decided to add so many levels to this game. Because some of the, you will see some of the higher levels are pretty straightforward if you just want to get over with it. I think the interesting part really starts where you try to beat other people's scores, which I was not interested in. Still, you will see that some of the solutions are fairly simple. Now here, I am using, yeah, a bit of a trick here. Again, taking an extra long path, but this is the portion where I started using and leveraging the fact that you can, by clicking on a path, change the layout. So you can click multiple times on a path, and what will happen is that my little elf gets to this final crate and then makes its way back. So the elf can turn around, and this time we will not go back to the original path, to the starting point, but instead we're going to follow this new path and get to the exit. Now you can also see that the exit is only available when you collected all the crates. So you cannot just collect a couple crates hoping that you will get some score. I'm actually doubting that this is going to be a successful run. Okay. Barely making it. And yeah, on the evil boss mode, you will see the score, but the number of clicks will lower your score. So if you want to score score points and get to the high score of the game, you should avoid doing too many clicks. Okay, this is kind of straightforward as well. So we're picking up a crate here. And obviously with making jumps with springs, you can make shortcuts. So here, for example, a good way to cut all of this would be just take a turn here, put a spring, and then delete all this part here. And this is the tunnel in action, as you saw. The elf disappeared. Now this is a really good way to make like changes to the path, and you will see that at one specific level, this is the easiest and most straightforward way of solving the challenge. Here I'm using a spring to jump through an obstacle. This is required because, well, we need to pick up all the crates. So here we're just picking up the crates as usual, and here you will see how the spring works. Now I also would like to show how the spring works in an unexpected way, because you might think, okay, there's a spring here and there's a direct path continuation. So what happens when there is no path to continue forward, for example? Let's play again, and I want to show you these kind of weird edge cases, because this will be crucial for the hard part as well. So the elf gets here, and because it won't be able to make a jump, there's no path forward, it just jumps here and goes straight back. Okay. It's kind of obvious and straightforward, right? Now what happens though if there's just this path, but there's no direct continuation? So these are all the possible cases that I want to show. And then the last option here, or the last possibility. So it still makes a jump. That's good. But then what happens when it jumps on a... Oh, I won't be able to show that one here. Let me just modify the path then. I want to show you what happens when it jumps to a spring. Okay. And you will see something very, very strange and unexpected happen here. Should be good. It doesn't matter if it's here or here, but we're jumping straight from a spring to another spring. And I'm going to just put back the original way. Jumps back to seemingly what is the starting point. It's not exactly the starting point, but we will see that one later. Okay, so very strange behavior when jumping from a spring to a spring. So keep that in mind for the hard part. And remember, what was the original one here? What was this? Shell Seekers, I think. Yeah, so that was the original one. You can always go back, by the way, by clicking on Go Home. Okay, so this next one is one where I need to pay attention. So let me just think this one through. The elf will go pick up this crate. Then we need to modify this path by clicking on it. It will disappear in the hole against this one, and then it will try to get out here again. So we need to cut again the path so it goes backwards, and then I have to modify this tunnel. So as it goes back, I will orient the exit of the tunnel to the end point of the map. So let's see. And there are obviously like easier ways to do this. This is what you see here. Most cases is the very first solution that came into my mind. So it's a very naive approach to get through the levels. I'm pretty sure you can come up with something much, much better than these. But it kind of works. Okay, so we're gonna cut it here. Oh yeah. So I still need to wait until the elf gets back. So it gets out here. And then, oh no. It's a bit of lag. Oh, we made it. All right. Tropical Tangle is the next one. Here is pretty straightforward. So we're gonna first get up here, and then I'm going to change the path, make the elf pick these up, and then get here. There's also a fairly long path, as you can see, that the elf will take. So here I'm just changing it now. So as it makes its way back, then it picks it up here. And it's kind of flaky, I think, because a lot of people started playing already the next part of the game, the next few challenges. for the first act. Okay. And we should have just enough time to make it back. Hopefully. Alright, we made it back just right on time. Now this one, this crate caper, gave me some headache because for a very long time I have not realized that I need to change here the orientation of the tunnel exit, and this is something that I can do. Now that I think back, I think I did something similar, but without realizing it, or maybe as I had to redo the levels, I was not paying attention that I could do the same solution here. So here now I'm just changing this tunnel and make my little elf pick up the crates one by one. And I think a lot of people here got stuck for a while. I know that I certainly had, because all the other solutions, as you saw, were very straightforward, easy, with the naive approach. And this one requires a bit of extra thinking, like you need to do multiple clicks here. And then these 3 levels are going to be fairly simple. Just requires a bit of engineering with the springs, or you could also use tunnels. I just solved it with a spring. All right, we'll make the elf go back here. And then make a jump, and not really sure where it's going to continue. Goes up, okay, picks up the crate. I think there is, as you look into the application logic, a path preference for the ideal path. Very good. Only 2 more levels for the easy version of the challenge. Again, fairly straightforward. We're just gonna pick up this crate, change the direction, and then we have to jump here because the end flag can only have 1 path on it. So I won't be able to just like nicely continue here. Oh, and I have a missing piece. Okay, let me just restart this one super quick. So I won't be able to draw it as a continuous line. That's why we have to make this weird looking jump here. Again, there are probably other ways to do this. But eventually I think you still need a spring. So I could have probably placed the spring over here. And then as we get here, the elf jumps. Again, multiple ways to solve these. Right, so we're gonna pick up that last crate. And as we do that, very good. Now we just have one last one, and this one was kind of surprising to me because that's all it takes. I think this is pretty much just meant to be a level where you could experiment with things. Not sure. Okay, so as you can see, we have narratives unlocked because we solved the prologue. So I think that the narrative part is for the first act, which I'm not going to take a look at. We're going to do the hard solution. And now there is a new level called a real pickle. Now the real pickle is, as the message explains, is an experimental level, and the creators are not even sure if this works. So that's for the hard part of the challenge. And in order to better understand what's going on, I am going to look at the source code of the game. So a couple of things about the source code. The levels are defined in levels.js. So these are the locations in the matrix. You see these dots, so these are basically all points in the coordinate system. We're starting, I think, from here on the top one, and then these are XY coordinates. And this last number here is the type of object that is on the map. So you can see here that the first one had just 2 crates, the start position and the end position. I believe that's the 0 and the 1, or maybe a 2. We had the start position, we had an end position, and we had 2 crates. So those are the 2s. And you see the definition of all the levels here. Now, you might be wondering if you can change this, modify this. There is actually an editor mode in the game where you can draw things. Maybe it's under guide, I'm not sure. Chance min. No, that is not the one. I thought that it's at the very beginning, but let's search for admin. The admin controls is here at the very beginning. You will be able to find it. And here we go. Is editor. So is editor is a URL parent that is edit. So you might experience, I'm just explaining things that will not work. So you might think like, okay, experimenting with this might give me the solution. We can try that one out, certainly. So you go to the game, loads in the real pickle, and I can add another parameter, and edit equals true. We'll turn on the edit mode, and I can take my eraser, for example, to, erase these obstacles and try to, draw a path like this. We can give it a try, actually. Oops. All right. Let's just put back the start point here. Whoopsie. By the way, when you look at the editor mode, what's this? Under debugger, there's also a message displayed on the console that you're now in editor mode. You can email Evan here with the level that you created. So that's like a mini challenge or mini extra stuff that you can do. So you can go and choose path, and pick up the crates like this, as you would do it normally. Yeah, maybe not like this orientation then. That's clear. This puts back everything, of course. Just trying to figure out what would be the best way of getting it. Yeah, and we also need to get rid of that one, right? So this should be good. And if you try to do something like this, okay. I'll try to erase just the app here. Yeah, I should be much more careful. It's okay. I'll put back the crate, right? We can do anything we want. Editor mode is kind of clumsy here. Okay, so let's say that we have an idea like that. The problem is that the submission logic will not allow us to submit the solution. So our elf will be just standing here at the end position. And that's because we have the editor mode turned on. So even though this will change as making it look like that this is the right solution now and it's an accepted solution, nothing will happen. That is, again, because of the logic here. So let's just check the debugger. So when we have is editor, I think it's at the very end, here on the logic checks. Here is the send data to server, and then here we would submit, but if it is in editor mode, then this will be false and it will not submit our solution. There's a post request submitting the solution here. So that's not the right way of doing it. Now you might think like, okay, cool, no problem. I mean, right now this is editor mode, but I can set this one to false. And this is a const type, so okay, fine, no problem. What happens if I just get rid of the editor mode part? Now we have the obstacles back. Maybe we can get through them, and the elf gets through the obstacles, which is fantastic. And I'm not gonna go through all the different ways how you can fail here, just giving you a few examples. This will seemingly work, but there's a bunch of different error conditions here defined in the application code. So going under, again, debugger and searching for invalid game. I think it's under guide, maybe. Yeah, you see that there are various error conditions. This one is the heart. There's also earth, wind, water, fire, and Captain Planet, of course. Very nice. So these are really not the ways to do that. There are also, I'll show you just one more possibility that you can think of. Like you can potentially also look for ways to, get rid of obstacles by invoking the function that is used by the editor mode. So a remove entry, for example, and you would give the cell and the type. So let's try that way. And if I start removing stuff, I think you haven't seen the first one, but I'll just one by one, remove all the obstacles. And now if I check is editor is false, right? So this should work. And of course it doesn't, because again, there's server-side validation. So this will submit. It's not going to give us the hard error message because it has now a different condition. We still have invalid game data is the error message here, hard again. Okay, so it actually gives the same error message now. In the past, I think it was just some empty error message, so they probably fixed that part. Doesn't matter. This is not really the correct way of solving this. So how can we solve this? I'm gonna clear this one out, and let's take a look at our code again. So from the hints, the elf was talking about springs. And there's an Easter egg here. Why can I hold all these springs instead of all the fame? This is giving you a hint on focusing on the springs. And this is really key. Now, if you start looking through the comments, you will find one place here which is handling the behavior of springs, where it says fix this. Now, I'll leave it to you to look through the code and understand it, but basically what it boils down to is that edge case that I showed you when we were solving one of the easy levels, when you are jumping from one spring to another spring. And the jump made by the elf is not really handled correctly here. They just default to the very first element that you put there, the very first segment here. So segment 00 will contain the first object or path element that I'm putting down. So in this challenge, I have to think backwards. And this is really all we need to know at this point, because if you look at the map, the end position here is a flag surrounded by rocks. So we need to make a sort of impossible jump, because every direction here is containing rocks. So I won't be able to get a path and a spring here to make a jump, or the other way around, because I cannot build a path here. But it's very important to start with a path on this point. Now I'm going to cheat and look at my solution, because it's not exactly a straightforward one. So we need to collect all 4 crates. Okay, these 3, easy. I need to break out from here as a starting point. So obviously this will require me to place here a tunnel. And then I need to exit, well, preferably somewhere here, because if I exit here, well, actually you can also do it that way now that I think of it. But what I did was placing a tunnel here. Then we're going to collect these little crates. And we need to get to this crate. I'm just going to give myself a bit of extra time here. So I'm drawing one path here. And then we're going to make a jump with the 2 springs. This is actually a bit of a bug here. Normally, we shouldn't be able to put a spring here on the edge. You can, by the way, also put a spring on a tunnel. That will have some weird unexpected behavior. So this is a better way. So far the idea is that we're going to get to the tunnel, collect these crates, then the elf makes the way back to the tunnel. We're going to pop up here, go back. In the meantime, I'm going to change the orientation, and then the exit of this tunnel end will point to a spring. And we are going to arrive on a spring as a jump. This is the way how I would like to do it. Yeah, this should be good. So this is going to jump on a path, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this should be good. So here, this is actually considered a path. So this is not a spring to spring jump, if I remember correctly. We'll see. But then when I make the jump from here to this spring, I can take away the path and it should make an impossible jump. I think that's what I need to do. We'll find it out. So let's see. Again, this was kind of late in night, and I think I was struggling with this for hours before the solution came to me. Okay. If the elf makes the impossible jump here, then I need to do something. Yeah, okay. So let me just try to think here. A better way of doing it. Yeah, the problem is the elf needs to continue the journey here. Okay, let's restart the level. We'll see if that one changes the elf's mind. No, it still makes the impossible jump. Okay, and this is really the struggle part. But this is definitely the solution that I had, so kind of painful. Oh, I see now. So yeah, this is kind of tricky, and this is the mind-bending part. So let me just redraw this one. It's a bit easier. Okay, so it has to be a path, right? So this is definitely a part that we need. And then what will happen is that the elf makes a normal jump and then another normal jump. And then we're going to turn this path. And then it becomes this unhandled, impossible kind of jump to the first position. And this will work because I placed this path element. So see how it makes the jump? Selects the crate. Now it makes the impossible jump because it's another spring there. And the reason why it makes the jump to the end position is because I placed that element, this path element, the very first path element. So it makes it into segment 0, 0. Okay, that's going to be the path element in that check where it makes the jump. Yeah, probably this is a lot more straightforward like this. So you can collect the crates in any different way as you like. This is kind of easy and straightforward like this. Okay, let's check what happened in the meantime in the game. We have now the silver and the gold achievements under objectives. Now with the updates, we also have gold marking it here. So they made it a lot more straightforward. I like that one. It's a really good change. The difficulty level of this one is still 1. I think the way I showed it to you makes it a lot more obvious and straightforward, but there are a couple of things again to keep in mind. You have to realize that the jump from spring to spring is not handled correctly in the application, and then craft a solution that makes a spring jump to a path and then a spring jump to another path, but then by modifying the path you would do a spring to spring jump. And you also have to keep in mind to place the first path element for the end position so that the spring to spring jump will jump to that path location. So a lot of thinking out of the box elements here for the solution. We have now the new narrative, and we can go to Act 1, which we will not do right now. So I'm going to go and quickly upload these videos because since Act 1 is already published, this is now allowed, and you, as you're watching it, should be aware of this. If you would like to see the solutions for Act 1, I will do my best to create the videos, but I will be traveling for the next 2 weeks, so probably the best is to subscribe to the channel and get the notifications. So when I have time and I'm able to upload the solutions, I will update the videos with the Act 1 ones. It's going to be in the same playlist. I'm also going to try to change here the overlay in OBS because we are supposed to leave Christmas Island. So I will pick something that sufficiently represents that and reflects that. And then we'll see what other challenges do they have. So if you're watching this a bit later, there will be somewhere here or there a link with the next video for the next objective. So see you there.